And that book signing was at the library bring it full circle to our conversation about how I used to rent indie movies at the library.
We did have a library conversation. And to those out there, PSA, use your local library. Go. It's free. Library. At some point, someone said, let's create a business that just gives people books for free. Greetings, boils and ghouls, and welcome to another frightening episode of the Scary Movie Project. I am your host, as always, Matt, and be careful what you wish for. Someone might be listening. A frustrated, angst-ridden teenage girl awakens something in the woods when she naively performs an occult ritual to evoke a witch to kill her mother. What a rotten child. In 2017's Pyewacket. Yeah, I say it again, Pyewacket. I like this movie because I like to say Pyewacket, and I'll say that a lot. But it's not just me, because it's never just me. A regular of the show, Sara Alpin is here. You know what? You could host this show at this point, right? Like, I mean, I don't even think I need to even be on this show at this point. But hello, welcome. Thank you for joining, and we'll enjoy rambling with you for the next 45 minutes or so.
Well, thanks for having me.
Anytime. Anyone's welcome. So, anyway, that was my dramatic lead-in to Pyewacket. Thoughts? Early thoughts? What are the early returns for you on 2017's Pyewacket?
I actually thought it was pretty good. Okay. I did not read anything or know anything about it before because I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to read the back of the book jacket before I start the book because I like to just be surprised.
Okay.
So I didn't read any of the reviews. I did today read reviews, and apparently it's a very mixed bag, and either people love it or hate it. And I think I'd probably give it like well, if you factor in budget, I'm going to say that my rating goes up, but on like scale of all horror movies, I would say probably like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. I enjoy it as well. It's, I have a list, right? But what does that mean? Because there's like 7,000 movies on that list. But eventually you have to, one day I'll die, but I'll try to get through these movies as soon as most of them if I can. And this was on the list. I heard about it a while ago. It's, all right. It's very low budget, if any, right? 2017. Who is our director of this film is a gentleman by the name of Adam MacDonald. I don't know him. This is a Canadian production, yeah? He has done a couple things, I believe, in his native Canada, as I like to call it. We love you, Canada. And it has, star power, sort of, as Laurie Holden, who Walking Dead fans know as Andrea. I hated her character on the show. I'm not sad she died. She's a good actress. She was also in, I believe she was in, help me out here, Silent Hill, right? Wasn't she in Silent Hill, I think?
Oh, maybe she was. I have so many questions because one of my questions was going to be, does she live in anything she's in?
Yeah, I don't know. She's, I guess, is she Canadian? I don't know.
I have up IMDb, so I can actually find out. I did not like her in here either.
Yeah, she was. So I love the daughter, our main character, right? Leah. She's excellent. I thought she's great. I really like her a lot. I don't know any of her work though outside of this film. Again, I may be mostly Canadian stuff I don't watch, so I don't know. But I thought she was excellent. So really, it's really the two of them, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
So this film is very atmospheric, and I like it a lot because of that, right? So basically, what we find out that this mother and daughter have lost their her husband. The father died, right? We don't find out anything about this. We don't really know why. It just kind of happens. And the mother is clearly still struggling with this, and she's still, but bottle of liquor in the bottle of wine in the bedroom. The daughter comes in. The daughter's going out, and she's into all this occult stuff and black magic stuff, and she goes to this book signing to get her book signed by this author that wrote this book, the Book of Spell. I don't remember the name of the book. Did they even show the name of the book?
His name is Rowan Dove. It's called like
Oh.
Occult something.
Very pagan name, I would think, right? They
Like
gave him?
occult rituals or something. It was
Yeah.
like something very like on the nose.
So it's very, goth high school kids, right? She wears all the black, and it's, Marilyn Manson. I mean, I'm dating myself by saying that now. I don't know who. I mean, hopefully you still listen to Marilyn Manson, because Marilyn Manson's pretty awesome. But her and her friends do all this stuff, and they're into all this stuff, right? The mother is struggling. The two of them they're having issues when someone dies, okay? Whatever happens to you is whatever happens to you, and you have to deal with that, right? So she decides she's just going to up and go ahead and, you know what, we never find out where they live, unless they said it and I forgot it. They never mention it. But she says, we bought a place. We're moving up north, okay? Yeah. Let's move up north. She's in high school. You don't want to move, right? You don't want to leave your friends, right? So it's like, I guess, 2 hours away or so, because she says she'll still drive her to school and whatever, right?
But here's the thing. She said, I drove 2 hours today. So I was like, so it's 45 minutes.
I thought then. Yeah. So my guess was that if she drove 2 hours, 45 minutes to an hour each way, right? Is that right?
Yeah, because like she had to go there and then back to the house.
So the reality is, living an hour away is not that far away.
No, half the kids I went to high school with lived an hour away.
That's not the point, though, right? So, we get it, right? When you're 16 and 15, you got no car, an hour away is pretty damn far, right?
Yeah,
it is
it's super rural, like,
right.
Which I get.
Now, this is for me. That house is heaven for me. If I lived there, I would never leave that house. I would be self-sufficient out there, and I would just live my days and enjoy myself immensely out there. For her, it's probably like, oh my God, get me out of here. I thought where they move is fantastic, but she doesn't like any of it. So she does what a normal person would do and puts a spell in to have her mother die, right? I mean, what normal person doesn't do something like that? So I guess she goes and she does the spell, right? I don't know a lot about spells. I've read of them. I've never done one. If any listeners to this show know, Tara and I are always talking about witchcraft in some form or another on this program. But I've never done anything, right? So I don't know how authentic this... by the way, so in case anyone wants to know, Pyewacket, we like to say that word, it's supposed to be a familiar, and I say a familiar, that's something that belonged to witches. Familiars were tag-alongs that they said that accompanied witches, either in the form of a cat maybe, or a toad, or a bird, or something like that. And apparently Pyewacket was one of the familiars during the Salem witch trials. So that's your background for that, and apparently they're using it as a demon or a familiar, right? This stuff is all so subjective because it's all so old, and it's made for a movie, and it's probably not accurate, but we're going to go with it, right? So I'm not going to spend time defending all that stuff. But anyway, so she does the ritual and performs it, and weird stuff starts to happen, like dirt starts to show up and stuff, right? And what else was weird that happened? Like some weird stuff just started to happen after.
Well, like as soon as she did it, and I think we should talk about why she did it, like the fight itself. But as soon as she did it, something like lands. So they kind of present it like it's in the attic. But to me, in my mind, it landed on the roof.
Yeah.
Because she's in like an addition that's on the second story, and her mom's on the first floor. So Leah, the daughter. And it's like you hear this like thunk, and then you hear footsteps and scurrying footsteps. It's like
Exorcist stuff, right? When they hear the scratching in the attic, right?
Yeah, it's really well done. And then she goes up in the attic and freaks out, and she's super upset about it and all the things, and gets her mom.
Attic scene ever, maybe Exorcist, right? The little noises, and then she comes in with the candle, and the candle gets blown out. Different movie,
that just gave me goosebumps thinking about it.
So, man, if you ever hear noises in your attic, it's not mice, it's the devil. So, but anyway, okay, sorry. So I left out a huge part, right? They're fighting all the time. Again, this is people in mourning, people who have lost. They're struggling with emotion, right? But these two are going at it, right? And I mean, look, she's a teenager. Name me a teenager in the history of mankind who has behaved themselves with their parents. It doesn't exist. Okay, so don't give me that. So anyway. But there is that one line, you can talk about more if you want to, but the one line I'm going to mention, she's sitting there telling her, what did she say? Every time I see you, I see your father's face, and I can't stand it or something. Like, oh my God.
I actually wrote it down because it was
what is it? What'd she say?
Poignant. She said, every time I look at you, I see your father's face. God, I wish I could just grab it off of you.
Okay. You know what?
And did a grabbing motion and pulled away.
Guess what? If you said that to me, I'm putting a curse on you too. So, okay.
That's really that's such a gut punch.
I know that's heat of the moment. I get that, and I'm sure any mother doesn't mean that. I hope. I don't know, but at the same time, you can't say stuff like that, man.
Oh, that's terrible. That's
you can't say stuff like that.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you honestly can't take back and not a mother, but I am a daughter, and my mom and I had arguments.
Person.
But yeah, there are things that parents say that you cannot unsay,
and especially
at
certain ages, right?
Yeah,
she's a 15-year-old girl whose father died. She's trying to figure crap out, right? Give me a break. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's tough. It's brutal to listen to. Now, that being said, okay, I have to ask this question because this was in the description that she angsty teen naively curses her mother.
Right.
I'm not sure how naive I think this is.
Oh, so well, my answer to that would be, if I get it right, is she's being very naive about using magic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, but she's done research. She's reading books.
But again, like I said, I've read a lot of stuff and I've watched a lot of stuff, and I get the stuff you read. The mainstream is probably BS. Well, maybe it is. I don't know, right? I've mentioned before on the show, I'm all for going to a voodoo service. Anybody out there who wants to do something cool, bring me in. I'm all in. But some of this stuff, I don't know. We can kind of maybe get to it later because I had thoughts about it too, but. Yeah, maybe you don't know what you're getting into. Is that right? Is that the right way to put it? I don't know.
I guess, but I don't know. I could relate to her in a lot of ways. Now, I have both of my parents luckily still in my life, but I did have knockdown, drag out fights with my mom growing up.
Of course, everyone does. It's just,
yeah,
yes.
I feel like that's probably the case. But it would literally never enter my mind to do something like that, no matter what my mom said to me. And I won't even use a Ouija board in the house, so I'm maybe an outlier here. Okay.
I don't go near those things. Are you kidding?
I believe when you open a portal to something that you don't have the full understanding of, that is a very dangerous thing to do.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And she did research, so I guess I don't think we can really pull the naive card in and say she didn't know at all what she was getting into.
So I think that's one of the things with magic, right? Is it's always labeled as, don't do this because you don't know what you're doing, right? Everyone always tells you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing. Well, someone has to know something what they're doing at some point, right? Because people do it all the time. So everyone's always said that because maybe just no one understands it overall.
And at the end, when she FaceTimes the author, not to totally spoil the...
That's what we do, so...
I know. I still get guilt every time.
We'll get there.
When she goes to meet with she FaceTimes with the author because she reaches out to him online and she's like, hey, I cursed my mom and now Pyewacket is here.
Cursed my mom today.
Can you help me? And the author FaceTimes her.
I have a comment about that, but go ahead.
Super weird. And that book signing was at the library to bring it full circle to our conversation about how I used to rent indie movies at the library.
We did have a library conversation. And to those out there, PSA, use your local library. Go. It's free. Library. At some point, someone said, let's create a business that just gives people books for free. They can have them and bring them, come back in 3 weeks. And guess what? If you don't come back then, bring them back later.
They auto return when you borrow them online.
And we'll charge you a nickel for it. So, it's all good. Anyway, yeah.
But he asks her, did you believe it as much as it believed in you or something equivalent to that? And she says yes. Yeah. So to me, again, that is where I don't think we can use that word naive.
So, okay, look at it this way. if it's some sort of other, let's say there's some other, let's say it was a Baptist priest or someone that wanted to, I don't know if I'm going to explain this right, I'm going to try. Let's say it was someone who was interested in religion and they wanted a Baptist, right? And let's say they wanted to, I don't know, give the sermon or something. And it was their first time they did it. Would they be considered naive in doing that because they've never done it before? Is that the same kind of thing? Am I anywhere close? Am I making any sense at all?
I mean, I guess I'm going to default to exorcism. It would be more equivalent.
Wow, we're all Matt today. Okay.
I know. I feel like that would be the more equivalent thing because you're playing with something that's a bit bigger than like just a sermon. Not that sermons can't be powerful to some people, but
That's what I came up with. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. I feel like, okay, I mean, I guess I feel like the first time you do something, you do go in with a bit of naivete, but I just don't think, like, you can't just completely exonerate her from guilt.
No. And that's, no, I agree, but I think that's the whole reputation with using magic. No one understands it. It's, you don't know what you're doing. That's just kind of what it is, right?
Yeah. Although, just also to be clear, I'm not saying we should hold her to the same standard as an adult. She is a teenager. She's 16.
Yes, that's right.
Her brain is not fully formed. Also, she's a movie character.
She's also not real. Don't forget that part of it. So, but anyway, no, these are important life discussions we're having right now. It's very, very important things. So yeah, she says, the mom says some awful stuff to her, and at that point it's like, yeah, I'd put a spell on you too. And she's clearly not happy, of course, and so she does the spell, right? She goes out into the woods behind the house, the fabulous house they live in, by the way, that I really want to live in. I'm assuming they shot that in Canada. We can talk about it later. So then, yeah, weird stuff like the noises happen, like dirt shows up and stuff, I think.
A ton of dirt.
Yeah, then they start to... Oh, then we see that form one night, right? That kind of shows up, and she ends up outside the next morning. That was
the one that's in the corner of it comes from the attic into the corner of the room, and the mom turns the light out, which I thought was interesting. And then the Pyewacket comes down, but I thought it was interesting because it kind of juxtaposes, or I don't think it was intentional, but it comes out in the light later, so I don't think it was afraid of the light.
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, good question.
I don't know. I was kind of curious what you thought about that. But as you go through this, you'll probably get to the point that I was thinking of, and then maybe you'll be like, ah.
Okay, I look forward to this. So then they kind of have this. They try to have this silly bonding moment because the random car accident. She almost drives off the road into that car. That was wild. That was weird. Then she said she wants to work at that store on the weekend, so he takes her to the shop with her, and they try to have this bonding thing again, and then it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to kill you and put a curse on you, but
yeah.
Then she tells her friends, and they're all like, what is wrong with you? Why are you gonna do this? And she's feeling terrible probably because she's got these people that are out, think they're probably not out to get her, but she doesn't know what's happening, right? She's, super confused, and it's just very difficult being in this situation. And the mother's trying to, move on, right? I don't like the word move on from someone or something that died. I like to use different words, but whatever you want to use, right? So
she's trying to keep going with her own life in some capacity.
There you go.
Without sinking.
That works too, because it can really take you down. And then anyway, so... What I'll let you tell the third act, the exciting part, that what finally happens near the end.
Okay, so the card, when you read the tagline, card, when they go to that store, that little trinket store, which is super cute, by the way. What was the tagline again? Because that's on the card.
That's why they put it in there, exactly. The tagline is, I have it here somewhere.
I loved it so much that it was in the movie.
It's be careful what you wish for. Someone might be listening.
It's so creepy. And it's right around Halloween and all of these things. You see a witch hanging. They walk underneath and you just see her feet and all kinds of stuff like that. So So then, the only person that isn't like, you are crazy for doing this to your mother and you're a horrible person, is Janice, the friend that's the female.
Her friend Janice, the goth chick, right?
Yeah,
You
who
gotta
like,
have the goth chick.
yeah, I think she might have a tough life at home from.
Oh yeah, her mother is probably like a junkie, and her dad probably left her when she was like a year old or something like that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they like kind of hint to it, like they show like after all this happens, they show a little bit of it, and it's like, oh, this is so sad. But so she is like, all right, let's go. I'm coming to your house after school,
Yep.
and we are gonna go in the woods. We are gonna try to get this thing on camera. I am here for this. Let's do it. So she ends up they go up to the house. The mom's like, I made up a bed for you on the sofa, which I thought was kind of weird because she had a big enough bed for both of them to sleep together. And we always slept together growing up, but whatever. Neither here nor there. Or they would sleep on the floor, but
It's all good.
you know, got to be comfortable wherever you sleep. And so they go out to the woods to where it happened, to where the ritual was performed. And they hear some things and they get startled, but they don't see anything. Am I remembering that right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have some issues with the flashlight on the phone, and there's like a lot of confusion and additional anxiety happening. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Blair Witch Project. Like it had like a little like nod.
It's my favorite.
I know. It's funny because I was like, Matt chose this movie for a reason.
I mean, look at any of the movies that I love. Cabin Fever. I mean, that's in the wood. Anything in the woods, please. Yes.
But it has
Bring
a
it
little
home.
bit of that like POV, like that first person point of view situation happening too, because it's an indie film, so it has like the camera work is a little bit less like refined. It's not Vomit Cam, it's not Cloverfield. If you've heard me complain about Cloverfield on here before,
that was an interesting movie.
Seriously, Vomit Cam running with a camera is like anyway. So,
but you know what? All those movies, who are they trying to be like?
Yep.
So there you go.
Exactly. So then, they come back, they're like, all right, whatever, we're going to go to bed. Not a big deal. Like, we're not totally freaked out. So, Leah goes upstairs, goes to bed. The couch is on the first floor. She comes down in the morning. Her friend is gone. Janice is nowhere to be found. Can't find her anywhere. Mom comes out. Can't find her anywhere. They're looking around. They go outside. They're calling her name. She's like half catatonic in the backseat of the car.
I was like, she's in my car. Yeah, what is going on?
And she's like, take me home. And
jacked up, like sitting there all crazy, like, don't touch me, get away from me. Yeah,
like
something bad happened.
Out. And
something bad happened.
Yeah, definitely. And you got the sense that something bad was going to happen, as it was like you felt the lead up to it, so it wasn't a huge surprise. But she had been presented as this like real badass who like nothing could shake.
But that's the whole point. Of course she's not. Of course she's not. Yeah.
Yep. And
she's scared as anybody else, right?
Yep. And she got really shaken, like way shaken. Didn't she end up like in an institution?
No. Remember, they kept sending text messages to her, and the mom kept calling, and she just she wouldn't respond. She wasn't talking to anybody. I don't think they ever said what happened to her though.
Okay, I thought they like showed her at home or with her family or something, and then she was like being hospitalized or like medicated or something.
I don't remember. I missed it. Wow. Okay.
I also watched this like super late last night, so and then didn't sleep that great afterwards. Could be making shit up.
That's funny. This could all be lies. It's what you thought should have happened. Right?
I built it myself.
Yeah, you manifested it.
So I don't remember where it fits in this actual timeline here, but at some point, Leah goes outside because she hears something, and she sees the, like, demon, witch, whatever, Pyewacket figure in the light, like, come from between the garage and the main house in the floodlights, come out around in, like, kind of a very, like, weirdly bendy way.
Scary, abnormal.
Abnormal walking behavior. It reminded me of the Family Guy episode when they talk about Lindsay Lohan doing the crab walk backward.
I stopped watching that show a long time ago.
Oh, this is early seasons. This
was
is
it?
like season 1 or 2.
I don't remember that. I think I watched season 1 or 2. All right. Well.
Anyway, so she ends up, then at this point, Leah is freaked out, like really, really freaked out. Mm-hmm. So she emails the author. We talked about Rowan Dove is the name, which is like
so pagan. I mean, like Rowan Dove, author of the Occult and the Beyond. Like, are you serious? Come on, dude.
It's so.
I mean, it's perfect, but it's just funny.
It's really like on the nose.
Yeah.
So he ends up FaceTiming her, which
No, would never happen. I'm sorry. Okay, first of all, so her subject of the email was like help, I guess, or whatever.
Please help! Exclamation point.
The fact that he would even respond within a timely manner, I find, one, not believable, because if he's a big guy, author, whatever, he probably has publicity people. He probably didn't even read his own emails to begin with. I don't know. Two, he answered pretty quickly. And the reality is, if he's doing this for fun, he's probably writing this book just for fun anyway, and he's probably all BS anyway. And he can't help her. And he wouldn't have done this. Again, I'm probably going too deep. It's a movie. I realize this. But I'm not, That would not have happened that way. I'm sorry.
I know.
There's no way.
So I was like, okay, he has a publicist at the library, and he is signing books at the library. So like it's reasonable to think that when I say this, if you didn't actually watch it, he's not that big of an author, but he's got a line out the door at the library. Yeah. So even though the venue might be free and it's not like some upscale, like, Sex in the City kind of book signing thing, because that's the only other one I can think of off the top of my head that happens in the movies. We'll go with it. Sorry for the reference, you all. Don't hate me. Okay. But, it's not like some sort of like 5-course meal book signing, but he still has a massive line. Like that suggests that he's going to get some hate mail. He's probably going to get he's
especially writing about stuff like that. I mean,
and that there's some element of truth to it is the implication, obviously, because it works for her. And when she meets him, she says something about how she wishes he would write more about the actual rituals themselves in the book. So whatever the book actually says, gives enough for her. But I thought that was super creepy and super weird. It gave me like a little bit of like inappropriate adult to child vibes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not trying to like, I don't think that was like the intent, but that's the vibes that I get from that kind of thing. Like, it's weird to FaceTime a 16-year-old you don't know as an author.
That could lead to some serious legal problems.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it had been a phone call, I would have felt like a little bit more like, or a response to email.
I know the parent situation with this situation is obviously odd, but yeah, you have no idea what could happen to you. I mean, I know we're probably going way off on this, but like for real, that could be bad.
With somebody that performed a ritual that seems to be working. Super weird.
Very bad news. But anyway.
So he says to her, I know. So he says to her, Pyewacket can take many forms. Don't trust your lying eyes.
I like that.
So then he tells her she has to do the ritual in reverse, and that's the only way to get out of it because she is the stream that good and evil flows between. So even after, once the end game is taken care of, like once her mom is killed, then they will come for her because she is the bridge between the worlds, essentially. He called her a stream or something, but to me, bridge makes sense. So she's like, okay, well, I have to preserve my own life in addition to my mom. So I'm going to go do the ritual in reverse. And she starts to go out there to do it. And she doesn't notice her mom is laying behind her.
Right.
As she starts the ritual. And what did you think in this moment?
What did I think? I thought, what did I think? She looks over, she sees her there, then it's the tight shot of her, and she's clearly not alive, right?
Oh, she slowly opens her eyes.
That doesn't come for a few minutes, remember?
Okay.
She's just laying there first, and she looks about as dead it can get. And
Yeah,
you're
she's
like,
all grayed out and everything.
Yeah, she's dead. And like, okay, that's not good. And, then you start hearing her calling for her.
From the house.
And you're like, okay, so there's a lot going on here. What's happening? Then she opens her eyes. So lots happening. You're not sure so at this point, to his point, which was don't trust your eyes. Again, that's exactly what's happening now. This force, this entity, this demon, whatever, is really effing with her right now. Or so it seems, right? Or so it seems.
Yes. That's kind of how I felt about it too. That was my initial reaction. Although if I was considering this as a real story at any point, I would have had the same reaction she did, which was run away.
And then she called 911.
Oh, she calls 911, yeah.
And says her mom is dead, help, help, help. And the thing that got me was, well, this had to happen for the story, but she's saying, calm down, where are you? I don't know where I am. And you hear her mom calling, and the operator says, who is that calling? Is that her? And it's like, you would not hear that. How would you have heard that?
Yeah, I mean, she had to be pretty far.
That's really interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't even think about that.
I don't know, but that seems like, I feel like the person on the phone would not have heard that, but who knows, right? But it's part of the whole story, so.
I guess, was it on speaker? I don't even know.
No, I think she had it up to her ear, I think.
That's a good point, because then you really wouldn't. If it was speaker, you could make a case.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, it's far enough into the woods that her mom didn't see any of this stuff going on.
We really don't know how far into the woods. I mean, it really doesn't show her path. It doesn't show. It's not like Pet Sematary where we have this walk and we go through these places. Like, I don't know. This could be literally 100 feet from the house. It could be half a mile from the house.
But we don't have a direct eye line to the house.
That's right, and that's on purpose. Again, we don't know where we are, what city, whatever we're in. It's just this is where they live, right? It's just it is what it is. But that's when things they get weird because then she goes back. She panics. She goes back to the house. She's calling her boyfriend or whatever. You got to come get me. You got to come get me. She goes back to the house. Then her mom is there again outside, and she's like talking to her. And okay, like what's gonna happen now? Because I've seen a lot of strange things in the last 5 minutes. I'm not sure what's going on anymore at this point, right? So, yeah.
And then they go inside, and the boyfriend is texting saying, "I'm outside," and he's not there.
No, he's not.
And so she goes out looking, not there, and then at some point they just go to bed.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd never sleep again. Personally.
No. This is when she finds. Is this before the knife? When she finds her in the attic?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
No, remember they end up hiding out because she's flipping out because she keeps seeing her like everywhere, and next thing you know, you're trying to figure out what's happening. Is the mother dead? Is she not? What's going on? What am I seeing is real? What is not real? And then they go up Leah's up in the attic with her knife, what's the word I'm looking for?
It is
a dagger.
kind of, yeah. Well, it's a dagger
because it's some sort of Wiccan tool, and they have names, and I want to get it right, and I think they call it a dagger. I want to be sure about that, but she's using it she doesn't know what she's doing. But anyway, then the mom comes up and she's like, "Stop! Put it away!" And you're sitting there and you're thinking, I thought she was going to stab her, and she didn't. But then it cuts to the next scene, and they're just sitting there on the couch, and she's like, "What is going on with you? Who are you on the phone with? Whatever. Why do you have this knife? What's going on?" And she's now you think you're back in reality. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, did all this crazy stuff happen? But you have no idea because. Yeah, he did a very good job of really mixing this up, and you still don't know what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
And then the best part, of course, comes. You want to tell them about the ending there?
So she goes outside to see if the boyfriend is there. Not there. She sees a gas can. She gets the gas can. She dumps it on her mom, who wakes up.
Before that, though, did you know what she was going to do with it? What did you think you knew what she was going to do with the bucket of gasoline?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
Oh, wait, she siphons it out of the car. She
siphons
cuts
it out,
the
and
hose.
she fills a whole bucket full of gas. And
Yeah.
I thought, she's going to dump it on her mom and light her on fire.
Yep.
And then she just comes in her bedroom, wakes her up, and the mom's like, what's happening? What is this smell? And she just throws the whole freaking bucket up and just lights her up. Boom. Yeah. You know what reminded me of? Natural Born Killers. Remember when Juliette Lewis finally kills her parents?
Oh my God, yes.
Yes. By the way, that is one of my top 5 movies I think of all time. I was telling a friend the other day about a list. I think it's top 5.
Really?
Yes. It is fantastic.
I think we're going to have to get you to put the list on the website.
They're not all scary movies. I think actually most of them are not. But anyway, neither here. But that reminded me of that scene, right? When they tie the mom to the bed and they come and she just, you never did nothing. And she just douses her. And they go to the son, the brother who, wears the kiss makeup on, tells him, you're free, get out of here. But that's what it reminded me of. And she just burns her to death. And she just stands there like.
And watches it.
Just, no real remorse. Like, oh, the house is on fire now. I should probably do something about this. And yeah.
And then the boyfriend pulls up as the mom has been turned into ash.
The house is slowly burning, yes.
And then she gets arrested.
Sure does.
And it's weird because they're not burns on her face, but I think that is the intent the makeup was going for.
Remember, she's all cut up too. She's all beat up. Remember, she jumped out the window. Remember, she broke that window to get out of the bedroom.
Oh,
because the mom was pounding in, or the shape of, or the Pyewacket was, and you saw her like in that hag form or that demon. That was pretty scary. And so she's all beat up. I mean, those things are real. So, yeah, and then it basically wraps with her sitting there basically getting interrogated and then playing back the 911 call. And you're just sitting at the end going, huh, so that just happened.
Yeah. And she's not getting out of that.
No, she's not. No, it's things are not going to go well for her for the rest of her life.
No, that's tried as an adult, locked up forever. Yeah. Potentially insanity could work here, but it's really not a better situation, I've heard.
So how much is based on how much of anything the actual Pyewacket, a demon, a curse, and how much is her just having unimaginable mental problems and killing her mother?
Yeah,
that's what you're left with. You have to kind of decide that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how much of it is because of grief? How much of it is because her life went down the toilet, basically, for her, and she just lost it? Look, I don't want to use words like crazy and things like that because it's not fair. Because what happened to this woman, this character, this is a movie, but this happens to people.
Yeah.
This is not made up. People lose their minds and they have breakdowns and they are never the same again, and they do awful things like this because of grief or because of, I don't know, something happens to them, right? So, the story has the whole occult and scary part of it, but how much of that is even in this, right? Is that just part of the story? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there are some things like she never when the reference you made to her jumping out the window, the Pyewacket like shatters a kitchen chair that she jams under the door.
That's right.
And it's impersonating her mom in that moment. And saying, just let me in, honey. Just let me in, Leah. Just let me in.
It's like the Terminator.
Oh, it's so great. It actually just gave me goosebumps again. But she doesn't, then the kitchen chair is never like referenced again. When we see the wide pan of the house, I kind of wish I had looked to see if the window was actually broken. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you probably didn't either, but that's an interesting question.
I didn't think about it. No.
If any of that actually happened or if that was all just happening in her mind. The only
How much of this is real at all?
Yeah, the only piece that you can't get past is Janice, because she had that, really intense experience.
She may have been the only person that saw what was real at all.
Yeah.
Because we don't know her window. We're watching it, the viewer, the story we're told. We don't know what she saw. And she may have seen Leah wake in her sleep and do some crazy, like an animal sacrifice, or who the hell knows? I don't even, you can't even imagine what it was, right? You can't.
Yeah. Because, it could have even just been Leah clearly, having a dissociative moment.
Yes. Yes.
There are a lot of things that can happen like that. Yeah. So she could have actually just seen her friend in a very scary state.
Yes, that's very true. So
her friend that she really relied on for her emotional support system. So I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, but I liked it. It was good. It was definitely worth. Like I said, it wasn't on a list that I was waited for. I'm glad I saw it. I enjoyed it. I love how it looks. I love that it's low budget and independent, because you can really do what you want, right? A studio movie, his goal is to make money at the box office, and they're going to tell you what to do, okay? Independent film is your film. It's yours. You do whatever the heck you want with it, right? If people like it, they're great. If they don't, burn in hell. I don't care, right? And, it looks like people that watch enough of this stuff know what I like. And it looks like something I like, and it looks like something I would shoot. It's dark. It's in the woods. It's scary. It's spooky. The sun's never out. It's always very gloomy. It's very grim. The framing looks nice. The cameras look good. The colors look good. It's simple. It's simple, but it's not simple. Even shooting that probably took a long time. It probably took a long time to shoot that stuff. I don't know the cameras. I always want to know where things were. I'm sure it's in Toronto somewhere, because they shoot so much stuff in Toronto. It's a Canadian feature. I'd love to know the cams they use. I'd love to know what, if any, lights they used. But it's definitely my kind of movie and stuff. The way it looks, the edit's good. It's tight. It looks sharp. The music works. I give it a thumbs up for each department. I think they did a very good job with it.
I agree.
That's my take, right? I went into it, again, with not much expectation. I didn't know a lot about it either, but I just thought it was interesting. And yeah, I came out happy with it. I liked it.
Yeah, I felt like they did a really good job artistically, and I actually thought the acting was good, especially.
She was great. The daughter Leah was fabulous. She was excellent.
They wrote it well with they didn't flesh everything out they could have in this character development arc that they were doing, but you obviously, if you're listening to me, it triggered moments from my childhood and my growing up, which tells you something. There was a connection that I felt in some way. So the character development was definitely there. Even though I think there were spots where it could have been a little bit better. They could have fleshed out the whole boyfriend thing a little bit better and a little bit more. And I think they probably, but I don't think they needed to. These would have been nice to haves.
It's all about trauma, right? It's all about trauma and what happens. And I like the fact that, look, The Shining is one of the great films of all time, right? And Jack Nicholson's character clearly goes crazy, which I think is one of the problems Stephen King might have had with it. It's one day he's normal, he's crazy all of a sudden, right? But you never see her demeanor doesn't really change.
No.
She doesn't act like a crazy person. Again, I'm sorry, I don't mean that,
You mean there's no evidence of a switch being flipped.
Right.
That one day she's the person she's always been, and then the next day she's somebody different.
She's not looking disheveled. She's not looking just, she there doesn't seem to be any, she seems to keep the demeanor throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting, right? That's
I
something
agree.
I thought was really interesting. But yeah, no, it's again, more character stuff could have been better. We just needed those small amounts of characters. Would I have liked to know what happened to the dad? Maybe, I guess. I don't think that matters, but whatever.
I don't think it matters. And
No,
I
it
think
doesn't
they did like a good job of kind of showing the pictures of him and his relationship with Leah too.
The mom tells a story about, how he had to drive 15 hours or whatever to be there in time for her to be born. And so that they cared about each other. It wasn't just some, dad that was in the picture for a couple of years and then rolled out or something. Like he meant something. Yeah.
Yeah, like he cared. He really worked hard. It also, I forget what the story was exactly, but it indicated to me that there was that they didn't just have a bunch of money. Like she wasn't working in this second job because it wasn't needed, although she never explicitly said that. I think the house that they moved into from their apartment was kind of a reach. And you could tell. And so, I think that she didn't want Leah to drive, and I think that was because Leah couldn't afford a car, and she couldn't afford.
She told her that. She was like, "When you can afford it, you can do it." Like, okay.
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, I can't afford a car if I can't drive anywhere."
Right.
And in a lot of cases, you would have assumed that was because the mom was overprotective and didn't want her driving, especially knowing that there was like the almost car accident. But it actually seemed more like it was a monetary issue where she couldn't afford to take time away to take her to and from driver's ed. And like there were a lot of things. There were a lot of unspoken things that were conveyed very clearly, which I thought was pretty interesting.
That's good.
Especially for an independent movie. Like there are a lot of times when either it seemed like you miss it entirely or it's like overly discussed. And I don't think that was like the case here at all. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, see, that's good stuff. That made you think. It wasn't just overtly, horror on the screen and monsters, and we love those things. But yeah, yeah.
How did you feel about the amount that the monster was shown?
Me, I'm a fan of show as little as possible, really, and wait as long as you can until you show it. Also.
Yeah.
I've talked about it before. Jaws, we don't see that shark till much, much later in the movie. Alien, you don't see that nasty thing until later in the film. Blair Witch, you never see witch. You never see that. Let it. It's like a book. When you read a book, you have the character. They might describe the character, but you cook them up in your head, and then when you see them in the movie or the TV show, you're like, that's not who they are, right? So it's fun to do that, to think of them, on your own. What you can imagine in your head is 10 times scarier than what you see on image, right? So
yeah. Although Alien was actually pretty scary.
Yeah, the alien's pretty scary, and sharks are very scary. So
I'm cool with sharks. I'm a diver.
Nope.
I've been diving with sharks.
I'm just gonna keep saying nope. I'm just gonna keep saying nope. Nope.
I'm headed to Belize in a couple days.
Nope. Nope. Sorry. Anyway. Large bodies of water are, nope. It's just not happening.
Really? Maybe it's because I grew up on the bay. I used to be actually very afraid of water.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons was growing up on the bay, the eels would swim between your legs and some.
See, that's we can just stop right there. That's it.
Yeah.
You're done. We're done.
Yep. I got over it.
Yeah, I clearly. So anyway, Pyewacket. Back to the woods where things are scary in the woods. Jaws ruined the ocean. Blair Witch ruined the woods. Not for me. I still like the woods a lot. So anyway, yes, I like this movie. It was good. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad we enjoyed it. I know we say we like everything on this show, but not everything. We don't like everything. We always remember. We'll always have Tara's favorite. How her
Children
her
of the Corn.
Deep hatred of Children of the Corn. Yes. I love it. Anywho.
Oh, God.
If anyone, so as earlier, to wrap up, I'll just say, if anyone knows of any cool rituals that I can go to, like voodoo, please let me know. And if anyone knows where that house is in that movie, let me know, because I want to buy it. I want to buy that house.
It is a pretty rad house.
Yes,
I do have one trivia piece I came with.
Trivia.
If you want it.
I won't know it, but go ahead.
It was actually very hard to find trivia for this movie.
Okay.
So for most of the film, Leah is wearing earrings. I actually noticed this when I was watching it, which is how I found the only trivia thing I could find. So they're ink crosses, which is an Egyptian symbol for life. And in this fact, they were saying that it was foreshadowing that the girl survives in the end. But I actually disagree. I think that it was a juxtaposition of that this was a downward spiral. That was an end of life
I would agree
situation.
With that. Okay, interesting. I don't think I even know. One thing I did notice, and I couldn't read it. The patch on the jacket. What did that say? Did you catch that?
Oh, they're on the book bags too. I noticed them.
Do you know what that was?
It was so, honestly, I was watching and I was like, I might need to get my eyes checked again.
I don't think it was, you know what? I don't think it was supposed to be seen. It was supposed to be quick, right? It was just like, you know what it is? Maybe one of those, I was thinking, maybe it's one of those things where it's like, maybe it's like one of the dudes, like the director of his band or something, and he's just trying to like pimp it out and just throw something in there real quick, right? Maybe? I don't know. But I don't think, obviously it meant nothing to the story, right? So anyway.
I mean, it looked ominous.
It was supposed to be, I think, maybe more for like the heavy metal kind of deal, like the, you know. So who knows? Who knows? But anyway, yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was good. Check it out. Watch it on Amazon, I guess, right?
Yeah, just go in with like, I rented it on Amazon Prime. It was $4. It's also on AMC Plus and a couple other places.
So I watched it through my on demand and just watched it through there. So
yeah,
it's good.
So I would say go in with the appropriate expectations when you watch this. Like, don't go in with like this is going to be a super high budget movie. Like, remember that the camera work is going to be a little bit like not.
I thought it was great.
I still thought it was very good, but I did read the reviews of people complaining. I was like, did you ever see, like...
Some people, unless the camera is just on a tripod, they cannot watch it. Whatever, man. Forget it.
Yeah. I mean...
That's boring. I want to see cameras do things. Like...
I want visual interest.
Yes.
But I don't want vomit cam.
No vomit cam. Yeah. Visual interest, no vomit cam. Be very clear here. Yeah, I agree. No vomit cam. All right. Well, this was good. Thank you for joining us. Any last thoughts? And of course, always tell people where they can find you and, you know, things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, probably the best place to find me if you like trivia and jokes and laughter.
No one likes those things. What jokes and laughter.
I know, right? You can find me, my podcast, Laughing with Gingers, where my co-host and I play games and trivia. We just did Southern slang and Midwestern slang, and we have Scotty Landis is coming on next week, who was one of the writers for Workaholics.
I love doing accents. If I had known this, man, I wouldn't have invited, obviously. But slang and
you are always welcome.
Slang and accents are something I enjoy. But anyway, I'm gonna have to listen to this. This is gonna be good. Good. When you did Midwest? Did you do Minnesota nice?
No. So we I don't want to spoil too much, but we did like OPE. And I quizzed Christina on whether she knew what some of these things meant. Okay. But do you know what OPE is when you say like OPE? OPE? So it's like a very mild, my bad, like my mistakes. You usually follow it with, let me just scooch by here, or if you drop something.
Okay. See, I'm better at the accents. I don't necessarily know so much of like the, origins of things maybe.
I can't do accents, so my mom's from Ohio, so we and Christina grew up in Wisconsin and Texas, so we've done Southern United States and now the Midwest.
That's awesome.
Of course,
I love it.
Maryland doesn't have anything that's like that.
Unless you're in Baltimore, hon. Come on now, right?
That's true.
Baltimore, hon.
I do. I forget that Baltimore has its own.
Baltimore, hon. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to high school in Blair.
Just go to a game of Camden Yards and you'll see everything you need to see. Yeah, it does. The regional dialects, they're really funny. Interesting. So, yes, please watch this episode. This is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yay!
Good. And you know where to find my idiocy, obviously. Everyone knows where to find me on, Instagram and Facebook and scarymovieproject.com, and email us at thescarymovieproject.com. Please tell us your thoughts if you watch this movie. Tell us what you think. Tell me what you want to review. Random things, where the house in the movie is, where can I buy it, things like that. Any comments like that. We're here for that. We're here to entertain all of you. So thank you, Sara, again, for being on. And remember, folks, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
The Scary Movie Project podcast. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.